The bus arrived 15 minutes before the hour, hissing to a stop, thick breeze pulsing ahead of it. He turned his eyes away and noticed the silhouette of a woman against the moonlit ruins. She appeared agitated, waiting for someone. Lengthening his stride, gaze narrowed and shoulders hunched, he felt a rush of adrenaline as he loomed towards the frail figure. What next? That's what I love most about this job, he told himself. Every day a different one. Every investigation a new opportunity to demonstrate my adeptness at enforcing the law. I've made mistakes, true, but my record on paper is unblemished. It's only a matter of time before the men who matter sit up and take notice. On closer inspection, he saw that the woman was older than her phone voice had conveyed. 50s, late 40s at best. Even so, her glowing makeup and the vibrancy in her eyes did much to hold back the years. After what seemed like an eternity, she said, "Dryden?" He nodded. "I'd say it's a pleasure, though from what you told me on the phone—" "No time for niceties. Come with me." He followed her along the riverside to woods providing shelter from the rain. They found a fallen bark to sit on, and she offered him a cigarette. Then she told her tale. He asked if she would mind if he used the voice recorder on his phone. She did mind very much, so reluctantly he settled for the Notes app. Dryden had 2 smartphones, a smart watch, and some smart sunglasses. His colleagues nicknamed him Inspector Gadget. Irritating, but it didn't gall him. Gadget always solved the mystery, eventually. 40 minutes later, the interview was over. They shook hands and went their separate ways, the woman deeper into the woods, Dryden back to the main road, her final words ringing in his ears. "Can you be trusted?" He hadn't answered at first, didn't know how to. Could he keep his word and not say a word to anyone else? In the end, he'd chosen no words, just a simple nod. He glanced at the luminous dual dial on his Tag Heuer, a gift from his fiancée. The next bus was due any moment. Quickening his long stride, he reached the road at the same time as the bus. It began screeching to a halt. He swiftly crossed the A65, got behind the 3 other customers waiting at the Abbey, hopped on the bus, flashed his return ticket at the wearied driver, considered for a moment before chancing his arm on the top deck. It should be quiet up there, the other passengers settling for the seats below. Climbing the stairs 2 at a time, he took a seat at the front, got out his iPhone 10 and read the few notes he'd managed in the shade of the woods. Best to fill in the gaps while things are still fresh in my mind, he thought. Seconds later came footsteps behind him, someone emerging from the top of the stairwell. He stole a glance. The man was one of the passengers who'd got on the bus with him. Wearing black from head to foot, the nondescript coat and trousers reminded Dryden of his darkly clad boss. Someone wanting peace and quiet, too, he guessed. Back to the notes. Who, when, where, and crucially, why? Why murder, and why the cover-up? He dug into his pocket for the post that she'd given him, containing the all-important address, but he couldn't find it. Maybe he'd dropped it. Not to worry, it was permanently printed on his memory. Then came more footsteps. 2 pairs of them. Dryden glanced over his shoulder. A young man and woman were climbing the stairs. Hadn't they boarded the bus at the Abbey, too? He couldn't be sure, but it was puzzling, stroke annoying all the same. Why come up here when the bottom deck had seats aplenty? Unperturbed at unwanted company, he began keying in names and descriptions, dates and times, all the while drawing on recall training he'd recently undertaken at police college. With so many details buzzing around his head, he swore he heard a swarm of bees close by. Then he looked out at the drizzly darkness, the copper and yellow leaves clinging to the trees. Wrong season, he told himself.